Hey everybody, my name is Chip Dodd with Team ThisABILITY Adventure Racing and ThisABILITY Adventures. This is a quick commentary video of the recent chill 9-hour adventure race that just happened last weekend. As many of you know, in the adventure racing community, there is a thing called AR Live coverage, and he puts together very thoughtful, factual, well-researched commentary on races that happen around the world, such as the Adventure Racing World Series. This is not that. This is subjective, poking a little bit of fun at some of the top teams. For those of you in adventure racing and you're new to the sport, and you think these top teams clear the course with no errors, well, you're about to find out that some of us did some silly stuff out there on the course, but still finished okay. So let's go ahead and dive in and have some fun. I'm going to do a screen share. Let's start off here. So, Adventure Racing Live coverage, I definitely suggest coming out to see real good coverage of some of the world's biggest races. The other thing about the Adventure Addicts Racing, this is the Chill, the winter adventure race that they just did. It was an amazing race. Liz and Michelle and the rest of the volunteers there put on an amazing race, and everybody had a total blast. You can head over to their Facebook page if you want to find the actual race maps, the rule sheets, as well as the results and photos and all that kind of stuff. But let's get into the commentary. So the teams I'm going to follow are just a handful of teams. I went on Strava and basically stalked them and got their GPX files from their watch. So this gives you a general idea of who was on what team. And if you notice, these are some of the top races around the world. I mean, and especially not around the world, I'm sorry, East Coast, let's say East Coast. Goals ARA, absolutely amazing, fast teams, very experienced racers. Greg and Kellen from Hunting Bigfoot, these guys are just a ton of fun to hang out with. And we're gonna have some fun with them during this because they took some scenic routes. Jesse Tubb and Eric, these guys are amazing. Like basically when I'm going out for a PR, Jesse could run circles around me. So I can't wait to see his track here. Venture Enablers, these are very experienced racers. Every time we're out there, they're usually smoking fast and blasting past us. I'm just trying to keep up so I can follow them. Hunting Bigfoot, Mary is one of my mentors, and I met her early in adventure racing. She's taught me a lot over the years and did national championships with her my first go around. Mark Latanzi literally wrote the book on navigation, and he paired up with Jesse Spangler, who is just a soul-crushing racer. He just blasts through stuff quicker than anybody I've ever seen. And Andy Bacon, of course, experienced race director, everything just super fast. Now we get into Soggy Bottom Boys, another race director with Mark Montague and his team. They're very experienced, know what they're doing. And Mark was one of my mentors early on, and when I first got involved in adventure racing. Matt Wilson, always a solo racer, and back when I used to run solo, me and Matt would be leapfrogging almost every single race. Really interesting to see his strategy in here. And then last but not least, Rev 3 Endurance with Phil, Shelley, and darn it, I meant to put on here Dave Ashley. Very experienced racers, a lot of fun. I've raced with Phil in a couple races and had a blast. So, okay, so that's your lineup on what we're gonna look at tonight. I'm gonna try my best to remember what colors they were off the top of my head. I'll probably use the first name of the person's GPX track. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this race. The Chill, this is Richmond right here. The Chill was based out of Bear Creek Lake State Park, surrounded by the Cumberland Forest, really in the middle of nowhere, but it is a very beautiful piece of property. So let's take a look at the general race flow, just for those of you not familiar with this area. We start finish is right there next to Bear Creek Lake State Park. There is a trek section around the lake that you're allowed to do either right at the start, or you can wait until you get back to the finish. Then you take the bike, and we basically are gonna head all the way up here to a O course. This is a foot O course. And then after you're finished with that, you take the bike up into this little cluster up here. You are allowed to do these on foot if you wish, or bike whack, or whatever you want. But after you're done with that little cluster, then you haul butt back down to TA3, and then your trek all the way back to the start finish, and then decide on how you want to do the lake. You are allowed to do the lake in either direction. And as you'll notice, racers did that. So let's go ahead and get this candle lighted and see what happens here. Okay, so let's start off at the start finish. Again, some racers chose to go around clockwise, some counterclockwise, but let's look at some of the fun here. As we start, our team is the yellow team, ThisABILITY. As we came around the corner here, as you can see, some racers, this would be both Kellen and Greg, as well as Mark Montague and DJ, they decide to take the scenic route here along the lake. Not really sure. Maybe they're trying to stay low and not go up over the topo, coming around and get this point. Some of the interesting stuff you're going to see here, Mary Foster in pink. I'm not sure what she was thinking, kind of maybe not have to go down and up and down and up. Took a roundabout way to get there, probably the flattest, most efficient route, knowing her. And then who is this? Let's take a look here. This is Mike Cheney. So this is Adventure Enablers, shot right across there. So it's interesting to see how different people took different strategies to get to that point. And then what's up with this? I think this is Tansy and Jesse Spangler and those guys. Well, we're kind of wandering around over here, not really sure what they were up to. Obviously a little maybe disoriented, who knows? But either way, let's go ahead and take a run. We're still going around the lake here. Everybody's on track, coming around, getting that point, no big deal, coming around. And then oops, Matt Wilson decides to take the long route along the river there. Then went oopsie, not where I thought it was supposed to be, comes across, probably got his feet dirty right there, but made it back over here to with the rest of the teams. All right, let's look down here. This is interesting. I believe this is Latanzi's guys. These guys took a big roundabout loop to get back on track. Kind of interested to hear that story. Let's look over here. This is interesting. Look at how many different ways. Some people stayed on the trail, went around that way. Some cut the corner there. Some went across. Let's see who went across. That's Matt Wilson. This is probably this is Phil Dawson and that team, and then this is Mark Latanzi's team. So they said, you know what, we're going to go up and over that topo and not go around. Interesting strategy. Now guess what? Look at this. Remember I was telling you how Jesse Tubb runs circles around me? Well, apparently he practices that during races because these guys, not sure what was going on out here, but they definitely put in some extra miles, taking a look around and scenic route to get back over here to TA4. So that's kind of interesting to see that. Okay, so now all the racers are together. Check this out. Now, no other team went up and over, but Brent Russell on our team said, you know what? Let's just go up and over this topo, put in some good, make our calves burn a little bit. And so we got back over here right at the exact same time. Joel Ford and his team were at this CP, and then Brent threw himself on the ground, landed on his head, and I thought he was about dead. But he bounces back pretty quickly, got up, and we kept going. Now, this is kind of neat. We took the low right route around like with most of the other teams. These two teams took a little more of an efficient route. Mary, up and over, straight to the road so she could haul butt down the road. And then Mark Latanzi and the team took a kind of a roundabout way. And I think Jesse was on nav. I think Mark said he was not nabbing. So I think this was probably Jesse's strategy here. Basically took a little shortcut through the woods to get over there to the road. Pretty interesting. And I think Jesse Spangler's coming around this direction. I think they were going counterclockwise. So it might make a little bit more sense. This is a very interesting point here. As we were looking through, some of the teams as they came around, they went up and shot down from the road. Others took the low route. Again, I think that's Kellen and Greg. And let's see who this is Mike Cheney in that group. So they went the low route and came up, and then others shot straight across, most efficient route, probably more of an orienteering way of just busting through stuff. Kind of interesting also how to get from here all the way back up. Lots of different route choices to get back to the start finish. Okay, so let's look at this. Everybody right now at this point jumps on the bikes, heads out. Everybody's doing okay. Maybe a little oopsie there, not really sure. Oh, that's Mike Cheney took a little oops, wrong right turn, went on trail, decided that was not the correct direction and went back. Let's keep going. Everybody's doing okay. Oopsie, what do we got? Matt Wilson, look at that. Kind of like, oops, kind of missed my right-hand turn, figured it out, came around, shot back. Nice recovery on that. Everybody came up, found the lake pretty good, went back in. Although, look at this, that you could have gone this way or this way around the lake. And of course, I take a team the long way around. So I was a little bit embarrassed about that. And amazingly, seconds do matter in these races that are this short. Everybody's doing great here, no errors. Oopsie, I think we've got Phil Dawson and his group went down, but very quickly recovered, came back. Let's keep going. I think we're gonna have a good one here. Oh, look at that one. Boy, that's painful. Whew. I think this is our friend Mark and DJ. They took definitely the scenic route, wanted a little bit of extra exercise and decided to go way back in here, maybe take a little pee in the woods and then go all the way out and then go, oops, wrong way, came back. Ouch, that had to hurt. All right, up here, let's see, Kellen and Greg, boom, they just kept on, and it looked like they just went adventuring in the woods. Not even a trail there, so I can't wait to hear that story, but they figured it out and recovered quickly, came back on track. All right, this is a really interesting area here. So this was a road, and then we got on single track, and this is, it's single track, but it's not necessarily nice single track where it's like easy riding. This is kind of tough. Come around the corner, and that CP is right off the trail. Right off the trail. You just punch that thing, get right back on, and keep going, as you see what most teams did. And then look at this. What were these guys doing? Some of the teams, they decided, let's just keep going now. Just there's no trail on the map. This was just, we got the CP, and I'm just feeling good about going north. Maybe there's a cut through. Mark Montague and his team got in here, wandered around for quite a bit of time, decided this is not the right direction, came back out and went up the other way. Matt Wilson kind of went up, decided he's going to bushwhack through the woods all the way over here to get back on the road. And then Kellen and Greg, not sure here. They kind of just following the river, having a good old time. And this is always fun when you see this. So let's check the map. Let's check the map, maybe have a sandwich. Yeah, just keep it, let's maybe check out the map again. But eventually they figured it out and said, you know what, if we just go east, we're eventually gonna hit the road. And that's what happened. Everybody got back on track there. But that was really interesting to see how all the teams cut across here. I think also we were leapfrogging with Joel Ford and his team, Adventure Racing Maryland, and they also cut across here. So I thought it was really interesting that that was a strategy. Here's a bunch of oopsies. Check this out. As you're coming up here, we were looking for this waterway in here, but a lot of teams, not a lot, just two teams actually, came down in here. Matt Wilson and this is Phil Dawson, right? So these guys, they come up here, they see a waterway, they go ahead and take it in, did not check the compass and was like, oopsie, we're on the wrong waterway. Let's go ahead and go up and look for the one that's more east-west instead of the one that's north-south. And they figured out right there. So nice recovery there. That's Greg and them coming back in. Let's see, let's go up. Okay, so now we're getting up here. Everybody's gonna come back up to TA 2 and 3. This is where we get off the bikes and then start going into the trekking O section. And as you can tell, this is a spider web of crazy. Many of us had a very similar thing. We wanted to start here, head over to 11. Although, look at Jesse Spangler. He was probably going so fast he couldn't make that corner and then to pull it back around. But either way, all the teams pretty much tried to make their way over to 11, which was kind of up, down, and through the water. Really interesting how on the way out, which I'll cover this in a second, but many of the teams cut back through there with their bikes and exited out here. Some went around. But either way, let's get off of that. One interesting one, which I have to ask Mark on this one, like Mark went over here, got that, and then walked all the way up and around on the roads to get up to number 13. I was like trying to figure that one out. Interesting. All these teams shot up here, no big deal. That was pretty straightforward. This is another interesting on how the attack point. This is basically a trail coming through here. Some teams, like there's Phil, cut across to the river and then follow the river up to get to the 13 or the stream. Others, they chose a point along this way and just decided, okay, we've gone far enough, let's cut over. Latanzi and crew or Spangler cut in there. Let's see who this is. This is Jesse Tubb, cut in right there. This is Mary Foster. Here's ThisABILITY. There's Matt Wilson. And this is Mike Chaney. Let's see over here. This is Glenn Lewis. Look at that. He's really surprising to see them miss that and have to come back around to find it. So that's he's a very good navigator. I'm surprised that they did that. But again, one of the fun things about this is top teams bobble just like everybody else. It's really interesting to see how they did this and how they recovered. All right, so let's see here. This is Spangler coming across here, hit that. Must have come through. Maybe they went back and hit that and then came up. That's an interesting strategy, up, over, and back up, when many of the teams went up and over straight. So kind of cool to see the different strategies there taking effect. Pretty much everybody just followed this river down here and then wandered around and tried to find 14. Matt Wilson looked like he got a little bit turned around in there, as did Glenn Lewis and that team. Mark Montague, not sure what was going on here on the totally other side of the waterway, kind of wandering through these reentrants. Not sure what he was up to, but at some point came to his senses and it's like, oh, I need to go on the other side of the stream there and figure this out. Awesome. So let's see here. Okay. This is where it also gets very different. Two teams. Mike Chaney and ThisABILITY, we popped from 14 over to 16, or tried. This is where our worst bobble was. We were wandering around in here for a while trying to figure out where we were. But many of the other teams shot down to 15 and then shot up over here to get to 16. Our strategy was we did not want to go down into that gully and come back up, so we were going to do an out and back from 20 to 15. And it looks like Kellen and Greg tried to do that same strategy there. And so did Mike Chaney. Looked like came through that way. But most of the teams popped over 15 up to 16. Whew, Jesse Tubb, what were you doing, brother? Round and around and around we go. Looked like had a little bit of trouble in there. Of course, ThisABILITY, we had got bobbled. Glenn kind of went around and around to get up there as well. This must have been just a lot of teams obviously had a really tough time finding that point. Although, look at that, Mike Chaney just nails it with a compass bearing and pop, just went straight to it. Looked like Mary Foster went straight to it as well. No problem there. And even Mark Montague, look at that. As soon as he got 15, went straight to it. So that's really interesting how some teams were able to nail it. Others just got totally turned around in there. Let's see this. Everybody shoots across. It's pretty straightforward. Some of us, like ThisABILITY, we went over here to hit the road and then take the road in and then shoot in to get it, although we did go too far. Other teams said, you know, we're going to follow the stream up there. Greg and Kellen said, let's just kind of wander in a circle, find the road. Eventually, hopefully, they got in there and got it. Yep. Let's see. All the other teams look like they figured it out. Here's another area with some course strategy. So after you come out from that point, you cut across and bushwhack, or do you go around the road and get over to it? We eyeballed this vegetation, decided it looked actually pretty thick, and we were up for a run, so we just decided to run around that. Mark did kind of an in-between, I guess. He looked like he punched through. I don't even know if he got this point, really, and then came out here. Not sure what he was up to. Greg and Kellen, they did some, they came out and went up. I think this was on their way home, maybe, or way back to the other TA. All right, so let's look at this. Man, teams got all turned around in here. Going from 18 to 19, we've got Matt Wilson all over the place in there looking around. Greg shot a little bit too far to the right and then came back in there to get it. We also looked like we came off, and I think they call this aiming off when you go to one side or the other of the CP. So once you hit your guardrail like this road, then you can just follow the road in to get to it. Let's see, Jesse kind of around in there. Mary Foster took a little bobble in there. I guess maybe this was too steep, came around the lower end. Just really cool to see the different teams and how they approach that point. Let's see here. What was Jesse doing? I'm not sure if it was Jesse, of course. This is his tracker. I'm not sure who was on nav. But looking all around in here, trying to find, maybe it was to go from 19 to 21, but really interesting to see that there's Kellen and Greg too, had a little bit of trouble back in there. All right, so we're back to 21. Oh, wow. Mark Montague, I'm not sure what this guy was doing. Look at this. Total went around and over and then back up. Really interesting. Not sure what was going on there. Also, everybody coming in from 21 over to 22. We had a couple different teams do this differently. Some teams cut across to get to 21, get back to TA and run it into 22. Some decided to loop it in and then shoot across. But you can see this course was really well designed where teams had all kinds of different course strategy. And of course, this was, you could get CPs in any order that you wanted. So teams did all kinds of different things. But you can tell just by the tracks that some of these CPs were quite difficult to find, even by some of the top teams. Funny story here, this CP was just right off the trail, and so we came in, and our goal was to run in here and pace count. My stomach had been grumbling all day, and I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna drop my pack, I'm gonna go in here and take a poop in this hole over here. You guys go ahead and go get that CP, and we'll meet back at the bag in like 2 minutes, right? So I'm back there doing my thing. Brent and Andrea run into the woods. They, for whatever reason, instead of going in at a 90 degree, also we went a little too far, but instead of going in with 90 degree just off the trail, hey, we meandered down here to the water way far away. I pop out of the woods feeling completely relieved. Took care of all my business, wondering where the heck they were. They were supposed to be back now, worried I'm too far away from my team. So I just dove into the woods just slightly and then just very quickly ended up at the CP. Of course, Brent and Andrea are coming up the hill and wondered why the heck I'm standing at the CP. And I was like, hey guys, I can poop quicker than you can find a CP. And so we had a good time doing that. I felt very relieved after all that. But okay, so Teams all then head back to the TA 2 and 3. Some people got on their bikes. This is another area where course strategy gets really important. Some people bushwhacked across to this road and then took their bikes out to get up there, which cut off quite a bit of time. Other teams decided we're going to go ahead and ride out and go up and around. And maybe that was quicker. It really depends. It'd be interesting to see the flybys on Strava to see which way was quicker. But let's take a look here. Oops. Let's back out a little bit. I'm not sure what they were thinking on that whole venture enablers. They missed that turn, went way up and out and around and back. Either way, they recovered nicely, came right back in with everybody else. Let's see, not a lot going on here. Oh, that was a CP at a cemetery, cruising along. This is where Kellen and them came up. It's really interesting. Kellen and Greg came up, instead of going around to the right, they came around to the left, which who knows which way was quicker on that. Didn't even cross my mind to do that. Either way, here's another area where course strategy was super important. I'm actually regretting our decision. There was a trail coming up here, which when you're coming in this direction, going up and over, it appears to be a shortcut. All this trail was in terrible condition, lots of mud, logs, etc. Some of the more experienced teams knew better than to take the bait and go up here. They went ahead and went straight down the road, up the road, and back over, which most likely was a lot quicker. Our team, ThisABILITY, went ahead and took the shortcut, as did Mary Foster, Phil Dawson, and Glenn. All took the shortcut here, and it looks like we've got. It's kind of hard to tell because this was an out and back, but it looks like Jesse and probably Matt and who else is in there? Kind of hard to see. And I think Jesse Tubb took that way there. Nope, I think that's Jesse Tubb there. Yep. So either way, kind of neat to see different strategies there. All right, let's go up here. This is super fun. This was really interesting to see. Matt Wilson decides he's going to cut across. He's not going to go up, over, and back down. That doesn't make any sense. He just likes to bushwhack through stuff, I guess. Both he and Glenn and his team cut across from 25 to get over to this area with their bikes. Either that, they could have been on foot. There's no way I can tell from their GPS track. Mary kind of wandered around in the wrong area for a second, quickly recovered, came around, got back on track. This is interesting too, to go from 27 to 29. Our team chose to go around on the bikes, but we have Matt and Glenn said, you know what, straightest line between 2 points. I'm sorry, I'm tearing this up. Quickest way between 2 points is a straight line, so they decided to bushwhack through there. Although Glenn got over here and was like, let's just meander down here and go in this wrong direction. And then they quickly recovered and came back. Let's see, everybody else came around here. Not sure what Mike Cheney was up to. Oh, I remember this. This was a road that had a split, and I don't believe it was on the map. So as you're coming back, you get a little disoriented. You take the right-hand road, as did Jesse Spangler, and then go, oops, we're in the wrong direction. We're going west. We're supposed to be going east. They pop back out and come back around. So again, even the best teams can make small bobbly errors like that. But the cool thing is the quick recovery means no harm, no foul. Okay, let's come back around. Now we're heading back down to the O course on the way home. Most teams stuck to the roads, no bobbles here. This is Mark Montague coming in because they skipped that northern bike section, I believe. Everybody's coming down. We're trying to get to TA3. Swing up here, it's TA3. Some teams did choose, they ran out of time, they choose to head back on the roads to get back to the start finish. Some teams chose to take the trails and nab these extra CPs. So that's why you're going to see some teams take this way. It really depended on how much time you had to get to the end. All right, so here we are. We are at the this is TA3 down here. We got a proper heckling from Jeremy. And no, this was Paul's TA, I think, down here, TA3. So, okay, so got a proper heckling from him. Got to see some dead bunny rabbits. They were over there shooting shotguns, and I think Ronnie almost got hit with some shot. A little bit dangerous, but that we pretty much try to stay away from the hunters. Coming around here into the quarry, this was a complete train wreck. Half the teams went through the quarry, got waist deep in freezing cold water, and got hypothermic on the way out. Other teams decided to go around, try to keep their shoes dry. Either way, this was an area of carnage for many teams. Some teams is kind of fun. They would come in here and they go up and over to get to the CP, realize it's down in the water, and there's about a 25-foot cliff, and they had to run around and come back in. Either way, it was kind of fun to see teams getting turned around in that area. After that, it's pretty much just haul butt down this trail that wasn't really a trail. It was painted trees where you just kind of follow the paint on the trees, but not a very well maintained trail. Everybody comes down here. This was a tough one. This was one, obviously there's teams kind of went all around trying to figure out how to get to it. Phil and that team, they got a little bit turned around in there, as did Mike Cheney. Here's Greg and Kellen. Kind of totally missed that, I guess. Let me see. This is that's Glenn. Kind of went there and nabbed it, no problem. And Montague popped in off the road and said, "You know what? I'm not going down that trail. I'm going to come in on the road, hit that reentrant or that stream crossing, and go ahead and hit that. Come in." So that was a pretty neat strategy. We actually had considered that strategy, so it looks like it worked out pretty well. All right, so now let's come down. This is Mary going, "Oopsie, went onto the road. I didn't mean to do that. Now I got a bushwhack all the way over." Not sure what Mike Cheney was doing. I think maybe his GPS tracker wasn't picking up correctly because it looks like it kind of looked like it should be overlaid there. Not sure what Glenn was doing. Pretty much looks like he missed maybe this turn and got up here and decided we were in the wrong spot. Bushwhacked back over to the trail to reattack. But look at that. Mary just went right to it on a compass bearing, most likely, knowing her. Nice recovery there. Not sure what they were doing here. But again, I think the tracker may have been messing up. Alrighty, Kellen and Greg have now popped in. They decided to skip those CPs and hightail it back so they didn't become late. So they were kind of coming down the road. At this point, all teams are together. They were hauling butt down the road, so they skipped this CP. This is another one, super interesting. This was an interesting one here. The come in off the road, the trail curves. At some point, you've got to decide when to attack this. It wasn't obvious with the terrain. What we did is we pace counted down about 200 meters and then tried to cut in at a 90 degree. Although coming in here, we got a little distracted, went on this ridge line instead of that one, and then had to cut across and get to it. So we bobbled there just a little bit. Montague popped in, said, "Oops, we're on the wrong ridge," popped all the way back out, came down, reattacked, figured it out, no problem. Let's see here. This was Phil Dawson, came in kind of like we did, I guess, a little bit off, came on the wrong ridge, figured it out, looked at the map, popped over and got it. Let's see, this was Jesse, probably running about Mach 3 down the trail, decided he'd pass the CP, slowed it down, took a curve back in and got it. Just really interesting to see all these different teams taking different approaches to get to 36, but boy, they all just came in there and hit it. Nobody had too much of a bobble there. And then from that point, makes sense, go straight back, go down and hit that road and bring it in for the finish. So that is the commentary for the Chill. It was a great race, great day. It was quite cold, but obviously teams had an absolute blast. For you guys new out there racing, obviously some of these top teams had their own bobbles. The key to this is quickly recover, get right back on track, and keep going with smiles on your face. So like I said before, you can see the lineup of who did what on the podium, but this is what the race directors have on their website. The ones in black are the ones we saw today. So all three of these teams that are in the commentary did end up all clearing the course and ended up on the podium. Hunting Bigfoot, check that out, second place. ThisABILITY, we got second place in the 3-person co-ed. 6 minutes behind Joel and Kathy and his team. So we were leapfrogging with them the whole time, had an absolute blast. And then Jesse Spangler, Mark Latanzi, and Andy Bacon, they of course just dominated this course, clearing it in less than 6 hours, which is absolutely amazing. So, okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was interesting and seeing how different racers attack points and how teams recover from bobbles. We always love checking this out after the fact. For any of you, hopefully you didn't mind me stalking you on Strava and showing off all of your secret strategies, all in good fun. Seriously, go check out Adventure Addicts website for their upcoming races. They're phenomenal race directors, and it was like a big family reunion being there this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great evening.